Let's go into Tuchel though, because I do think this is a really fascinating appointment if he does become the guy, because he does seem like the one who's gone the furthest out of all of the candidates, and he's the one that out of all the managers who we're looking at as a team that's right near Man United, I'd be like, oh, that could go well. It could go terrible.
Who scares you? This is the thing. Well, in terms of who scares me, in terms of like who's going to come to the Emirates next season with a similar squad to what's there at Man United right now and frighten me, Tuchel.
Yes.
Who's gonna do a rebuild? Because like, if I say to you right now, KG, would you rather get rid of your manager or 10 of your players? What would you rather do?
10 of my players.
And that's what a lot of United fans are saying right now.
10 of my players.
Do you, based on someone who's your club has had Tuchel?
Yep.
And you sort of tried to do a rebuild with him and he left fairly early. Is he that kind of manager that you can give the keys to a rebuild and say, have 200 million, scrap some players that are there and rebuild a squad in your image? Can he do that? Because it's not what I've seen from him in the past, and it's certainly not what Bayern Munich think he can do.
So when you look at when Tuchel first came into Chelsea, right, he comes to Stamford Bridge. We're on the back of a transfer ban. So we literally didn't have the ability straight away to start bringing in players and whatnot, and he worked with what he's got. I look at Tuchel as a manager, all right, Bayern Munich, it hasn't gone well for him, but we're all like wrapped up in it at the minute thinking, he's failed at Bayern Munich. He's got them second in the league to a team that are about to do an invincible treble or I think it's an invincible treble they're about to do, right? So when you know history looks back on it, it's not actually that bad what he's done at Bayern Munich. He's still fighting the Champions League with them. If I look at Tuchel, right, coming into Man United, I don't think that there's as drastic a change as everyone thinks they need. I actually think it's more so to do with the players you need to probably take out of the club than that many you need to bring in. Not that every team needs signings, but you more so need to ship some players out of the club, and players that maybe other regimes are brought in and now just don't suit what's going to happen going forward. There's where my problem is with Thomas Tuchel. I've got absolutely no doubt that Thomas Tuchel is going to come in and get a better tune out of this Man United team than Ten Hag has. Certain players will flourish under Thomas Tuchel. But when you look about, big name players that have been brought in, let's say, for example, an Antony that has been brought in, you're never going to recoup half the money, in my opinion. I get that you're starting to play a little bit better now. You're never going to recoup half the money. So then, being that the board has changed, this might be looked at differently. But then there's potentially going to be a point where with other clubs, they'd go, hold on, we've invested a lot of money for that player. Tuchel don't give a fuck. Look at Romelu Lukaku coming into Chelsea, right? Yeah. Romelu Lukaku comes in, we break the bank for him, 97 million. Tuchel gives him about 2 months.
Pre-season.
He gave him about 2 months, didn't he, to come in and to do something. And then it was like, you're not it. I'm starting Kai Havertz ahead of you. And that is how it went with him. So I'm just saying that I do think that in terms of a manager that will be able to come in and get something a lot better than what we've seen this season out of Man United, yes, Tuchel.
What's he like with young players?
On that, I just want to piggyback off of that. Isn't that what Man United fans want in a way, though? They don't care about these big contracts, these big names. They want people picked on merit and merit alone. And if there is, look, we struggled earlier to say, what does Ten Hag do well? We know what he doesn't do well.
Players.
You know what he doesn't do well? He doesn't set Man United up to be hard to beat. This is the easiest to beat Manchester United side in the history of my life. So Tuchel is absolutely going to make them harder to beat, because we look at the record he had with Chelsea, the defeats compared to Pochettino, it's mental how much lower it is.
It was the difference he made in the defence when he first came in. Frank Lampard's Chelsea were leaking goals. Thomas Tuchel comes in and he shores it up straight away. But what I would say is with Thomas Tuchel, what you've also got to remember here is, okay, he's a manager that is going to come in and probably get you a lot more results straight away. But in terms of building, right, if you remember the right towards the end, Thomas Tuchel was coming out in the media, and this is under Todd Bowley's ownership, right towards the end, he was basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically saying, I don't want the responsibility of everywhere else in the club. I am a coach. He wanted to be the coach. He didn't want to be the old school manager that's pulling strings behind the scenes and putting out fires in other areas. He wanted to coach the team. Whereas I think that when we're looking at Man United's next appointment, potentially, we don't know how hands-on Ratcliffe's going to be, but potentially there might be a lot more emphasis put on the manager to then go and recruit the right players.
This actually helps us because we're going to talk about Dan Ashworth now, because potentially he could fit right into that. I don't know how nicely he'll play with Ashworth.
Well, they said Man United, the point that they're making is saying we want a coach now. We've gone for we said that we've done the Fergie control everything, and even Ten Hag when he came in, well, you see most of the signings are his. Basically, Anthony, Onana, those are like, I would like that player. And we brought him in. It kind of hasn't really worked, really. So now we're saying we're scrapping that. We're going for the coach model where we select players. We want to play a certain style. I think Jason Wilcox and I hope that's the name. He's come in and said he wants to do that. So now the style is we've got Omar, Dan potentially, and Wilcox. We just need a coach. We're going to identify talent. Can you work with that player? Let's go. But the only thing is, I don't know what to...
I'll tell you who Thomas Tuchel did work with well. Jadon Sancho. Yeah. He was with Sancho over at Dortmund when Sancho was absolutely pulling up string. You never know. Maybe Thomas Tuchel comes back in the summer, has a look at Jadon Sancho and goes, I definitely have you back in there.
I bet you would.
Maybe if the point we were making about Rashford and Sancho being good mates, maybe that then results in a real uptick in Rashford's form. And then all of a sudden, Thomas Tuchel comes in, because let's have it right. Like Man United, okay, it looks like a mess at the minute. It really does, yeah. But maybe maybe I'm carrying this over from the way I look at my club, Chelsea, and it's an optimistic way of looking at it. But I honestly do think a good manager comes in there, a few small changes, where we're speaking about where will Liverpool be next season, maybe Man United are a lot closer to those top two spots.
On the Ashworth thing, what do you make of it that this is a manager, a football director that Newcastle signed for, however, I think it was 5-6 million, something like that. We took him from Brighton. He's had a bit of interest from Man United.
Hasn't been there long.
He's basically a year into the job when, fuck this, I want to go to Man United now. He's then on gardening leave. He's now threatening and proceeding to take Newcastle to a fucking tribunal to force his move.
Because I think you lot are criminals.
Well, what we're saying is...
You're not bothered though, so...
What Newcastle are saying is he's the reason you want him is allegedly he's the elite football director in English football, and therefore we want the pay to reflect that. So I think we're looking for like a 15 million, something like that. Apparently Man United have offered like 2-3 million, which is less than we paid for him.
2 million
to get him from Brighton in the first place. So it seems like Ratcliffe, as much as Ratcliffe has come into the scene acting like he's Billy Big Bollocks, he's actually He's making himself look a bit stupid by offering less money. Like, who are you, fucking Don Corleone here, saying we'll take less than we paid for him? Like,
no, because you lot said he didn't work. You lot said Dan Ashworth did nothing. Eddie Howe comes out and he says we had a team already set up.
Come on,
we had all the
plans. You have to buy an asset off of us. You want him, so pay us
20 million. How much did he appreciate? What did he do? The guy, you lot said he
got Man United interested.
You said he didn't do anything. Now the guy is available, hasn't been a part. Eddie Howe rinses him in the presser, says, well, it didn't really, he's just walking around the place. He didn't really know what's going on. And all of a sudden, all of a sudden, his value is 20 million. You lot have some financial issues. You're trying to use us as the piece so you don't have to sell some of your greater players, and you're taking the piss. So we're going to go to arbitration and say, mate, gardening leave, let's sort this out. Really, it should be 5, 6, 7 million.
I think it says a lot about
football directors. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But the fact that Dan Ashworth was like, I guess at the start it was seen to be an amicable thing of like, okay, I want to go here, it's a great opportunity. But now he's ready to take Newcastle to a tribunal because of what we want.
Bigger club, mate.
I think it's a weird it's a weird move though.
Bigger club, mate.
We've never seen a football director be like hopping from dick to dick the way he is right now.
No, but do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Yeah, what's happened? What you have to deal with, and I love it because this is the one thing. This is the only thing that I've had this season is looking at Newcastle fans like really upset, and they're tweeting crazy. Dan Ashworth, they want the money. They're like, we want the 20 million. Why are they taking so long? This, that, and the other. I think where Sir Jim made the mistake is he took a shot at Newcastle. He's like, they're being ridiculous. He had that billionaire body language, and ever since that moment, I think it's made things harder because he tried to meet with Amanda. Is that the lady he tried to meet with her, and the valuation between these two is off the chart. Even after he done a marathon, he said the biggest problem in football, the biggest problem in football is gardening leave. This guy's ran how many miles, and he's
still pissed off. That's what's fueling the run. And that's 70 years old, just running, just grimacing about Amanda Stately.
But then again, he can see something.
He knows what he's doing though, because the fact is, right, his value since coming to Newcastle, for whatever fucking reason, whether it's real or bullshit, has gone up. Why are you now going from 5-6 million that we paid down to 2 million when the rumours were immediately in the region of 15? He's taking the piss with that.
8 million.
And that would worry me. If I was a Manchester United fan, we're not negotiating. But if your chairman is going to other clubs clubs and offering silly, stupid amounts.
Yeah.
We all remember the 50 million plus £1, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're doing. You're making yourself look out of your depth.
No, because we know you need to prepare for your summer. You guys, as much as we got Omar in, we got Jason in, so we're in a sense, we're like, oh, we can kind of deal with this, but we know you have to blink first because you need to plan. Right now, can you afford to not have a director of football in when, again, a big club like you lot that now need to go the next level? And there's a reason why you brought Dan in, because you ain't got much money to spend, but you do want to pick out the best talents.
A director of football is always a long-term thing, though. It's not like, oh, how are we going to handle this summer? It's like he's not doing just transfers. He's doing a lot of things. So
no, but for shrewd. You want to be shrewd in the market.
Newcastle, you think you've got a gun to Newcastle's head, I think is a mistake in this moment. And
you're paying someone that you can't afford to pay right now. You're paying someone that is got the keys. He's supposed to be doing everything, and they're saying, who are you going to bring in next? Now you're linked to to another guy that we want to bring.
To a lot of.
You're linked to another guy. You need to pay people, bro. So now, make it happen.
He thinks we gone from years ago arguing whether Rooney's going to leave Man United for Man City or whether fucking Gerrard's going to leave Liverpool for Chelsea. Now we're sat here arguing over whether a director of football is going to go on gardening leave or if you're going to pay enough.
But why this is important?
This is a huge mistake from KG, because you're acting like you're coming from a position of strength. Yeah. You've showed your hand. You've literally told everyone in the world, this is the guy we want. We've made an approach from publicly, nothing private. You've literally told every other director of football out there, he's number one. Anyone else? So you fucked it before we have.
Oh, we're still Man United though.
Oh, so what's so funny about this as well? These two clubs were in the final last year. Obviously, they were both in the Champions League this year. Yeah, now they're both fighting for sixth this year. It's like
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'm winning. Never in my life did I think Newcastle would be in a position to be fighting with Man United again. We're right in it now. And you know what?
True.
There's a cup final coming up.
Yeah.
Which essentially Newcastle v Man United, and unfortunately it's at Old Trafford. Otherwise, I'd be confident would breathe.
Oh, we're going to lose that game.
It's basically whoever wins that game gets sixth and gets Europa League.
Yeah,
and the loser.
Oh, we're going to lose.
I believe the loser gets condemned to the
conference.
Imagine Man United in the Conference League. I honestly got to say, lads,
I've been there. It's horrible.
Condemning Man United to the Conference League would be one of the greatest days of my life. All right?
I know it would.
Listen, let's hope it happens.
All I'm saying is you got to pay Dan Ashworth, innit?
Because this is the thing.
He's doing some great gardening.
If Newcastle end in the Conference League, it's whatever. You know what I mean? We've been in the last trophy we lifted was the Intertoto Cup. To put Man United in the Conference League, I'd be making sure I tweeted out every single Conference League game. Just let you know this. Every time I go, just remember, Man United fans, the reason you're playing tonight is because
you don't have too many.
Eddie Howe. I can't wait.
You have too many.
I can't.
Enjoy it.
I can't.
Man United in the Conference League. Old Trafford. Remember when they used to play that fucking anthem? That Hosanna. No. Not anymore, bitches. Sing the Conference League chant for me. Sing it for me. I want to hear it louder in the back. In the top.
I want you to get relegated.
Okay. This video descended into madness, man. And it's gone south.